Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Up Monday. This evening, we have a women's panel discussion where we will feature these four incredible, inspirational ladies, and I will ask you to introduce yourself in just a bit. My name is Nathalie Bansazak, and I will be your host this evening. So, before we dive into the conversation, the topic for this evening is all about creative living. And let me add creative living beyond fear. So these ladies are perfect examples of, the many phases of creativity and what the creative path can look like. And we will dive into that and get a little bit more of your background and why you're here and how come you're doing what you're doing. But to go back to the topic for the evening, so we're going to speak about self-expression, creativity, confidence, and beauty. And in this context, how we actually can use outside tools such as fashion, style, and photography to express ourselves, and how we can actually use these tools for self-empowerment, transformation, and essentially personal freedom. So that's what we have to do. We have 1.5 hours here together, and I will invite you further on to be part of this discussion. You will get to ask questions, and that's what we're going to do. And I want you to learn more about these ladies' backgrounds because I've had the privilege to talk with these ladies one-to-one and in group, and it's so much goodness and wisdom in these ladies' stories. It's actually so much goodness that we could have one episode with each lady, but we're not going to do that today. So take us back in time, because there's a reason why we are all here together, united in Bali, which we could call the creative capital of the world, where we get to be fueled by inspiration and where we get to create what makes us happy. So, okay, who feels called to start? May, would you want to share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, your passions, how come you're here in Bali?
So, my name's May, I'm from the UK, and I've been in the fashion industry, I'm really passionate about fashion since I was 5 years old, and basically, I'm in Bali as a fashion stylist and art director to really tap into the core of people's brands or what they believe in or what they want to be, and really try to express that through fashion and emotion, whether it be a campaign or a film or whatever it may be. That's what my passion is.
I love it. Thank you. Okay, next woman, Gaelyn. You, yes?
Yes. I'm Gaelyn Larrick, and I'm from the United States. And why I am here is because I fell in love with Bali when I came in 1985. It was very, very, very different then. But I just knew that I had a home here, and now that I've been here 11 years, I know that this is my home, and I don't intend to go back to America ever again. I have been an artist all my life, and I really think that the thing that had started me off as an artist was my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Vanderbilt, who saw something in my art that was different from other kids that were drawing stick figures, and I was actually shading the still life that she set up and giving it 3 dimensions. So she said to me, I think you have a talent in this. Maybe you should go into this as a gig. And that was the first person who ever told me I was good at anything. Let's not go into my parents. That's a whole nother story, but they didn't think much of me. So that was really the trajectory took me into art. And I get inspired by beauty. I've had many readings from people who see into me, and I'm told that my signature frequency is a bringer of beauty. And I relate to that because I have found that I can just show up and have never done anything like that before that is requested of me, and I can do it, and I can beautify it. So that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes me excited. And these days, I am really immersing myself in Midjourney AI to incorporate that in what I do, and I will talk about that later.
Thank you so much, and for sharing a little bit about the background. Never underestimate the words we might get as kids for someone who is encouraging us to go and follow our passions, whatever that might be. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take Inna.
Yes, my name is Inna Kustenko. I was born in Russia, and I've been living in Europe, in America, been living, working, creating. And once upon a time in America, I had a friend of mine in Malibu, actually, sitting in Malibu, in Nobu. He was a chef of Nobu restaurant. He just came from Bali, from trip to Bali, surfing. And he brought all these beautiful gifts from Bali to his family, to his mom, sister. It was python, embroidery. And he's like, you're a designer. This is where you should go to produce. So I was like, yes, right. I was like, and this is where I am now. Been here for 8 years, and I totally resonate with Gaelyn, what you said, that we are beauty ambassadors, and we've been brought here to Bali by creativity, by offer which Balinese people offering us with their handcrafts, with their own creativity, to give us opportunity to produce here, to create, and to be inspired by this beautiful nature.
And an add-on, I know that you were actually called fashion, I think, already in kindergarten. Is that where it started?
That's true. I share the story with you. Because I came back from the USSR. This is how old I am. And back then, we had a deficit of clothing, deficit of many things, So my mom was creative, same as I am, and she was working at the tailor, and she had access to extra materials, So she was designing for me beautiful dresses so I can go to children's garden, because we couldn't buy in the shops, So she had to do it herself. And then when I was coming to the children's garden, I was the only one who had a nice dress. The rest of the kids was dressed boring in the gray and, uniform. So I stand out. I liked that because all the kids was it was a tool for me I was very introverted and shy, but when I was dressed nice, kids liked me for my clothing. They come to talk to me. They gave me nickname of fashion, moda in Russian. So I was like, okay, so this is a great tool and opportunity to connect to other kids and to be more likable. And I guess that was the beginning of sharing these tools with other women.
Thank you for adding that. I love that. When she said that, my nickname was fashion in kindergarten. I need to bring that into the episode. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, Marina.
Hi, my name is Marina. First of all, thank you for having me here. And I was born in Jakarta, but I grew up in Australia. I only back in Bali about 5.5 years ago. So back in Australia, I was mainly working for corporate, including Gucci Group, Oroton, one of the most iconic label in Australia. And I got a little bit tired, and we have 2 children, and I get a little bit tired of a corporate world, so we decided to move to Bali, which is almost 6 years ago. So while I was here, so unlike the other 3, I never really know exactly what I want to do since little. But with the times change and, with you as a person develop, then you kind of figuring out more of what you want to do. And I always love fashion. A lot of women in general would love fashion. So I always follow the evolve of the fashion industry. So when I come to Bali, I was thinking, so what am I going to do now here? So I decided to start a label. In the beginning, I started a label called Life by Marina, which basically just design everything that I like to wear. But during COVID, I actually pivot and I change, and I need to really think that what is my brand identity? I cannot just be everything for everyone. So it is important to find your brand identity. and who you really like, and you have to stick to it and be consistent with it. So then I rebrand my clothing label to become Edit by Marina. So basically, the sentiment is to educate customer to shop more intentionally, so they don't get brainwashed by the big companies saying this is what trendy today, this is what. But if you shop to what you need, it's also going to, it's more conscious. So what I like to say is like be the balance of style and consciousness, So it's so that's basically the aim of my brand here in Bali, and that's what I started. So we can talk more about it.
Thank you so much. I have so many follow-up questions. Let's see where to start. Okay, so we were speaking about creative living and what it truly means to embark on a creative path. And first of all, we have a very international panel here. We have Russia, well, from the beginning. We have the States, the UK, and local here, Indonesia. Myself, I'm from Sweden, and yet we're here in Bali. So knowing just a little bit more of your backgrounds, and let's just go back to the topic, self-expression and what that means. And if you look into the definition, it says something similar to the way we share our thoughts, emotions, and individuality to the world. And obviously we can do that in so many different ways. Here we're speaking about fashion, photography and style as examples. But again, like there are obviously so many different ways where we can express ourselves. So going back to that, May, you told me that in school you were kind of like a weirdo or something like that. Can you share a little bit how did that started? Because most often creatives might be the ones who seems to be a little bit different. So would you want to share a little bit about that? Like where did it started?
Yeah, well, it started like at school. My mum was always encouraging me to be different and stand out. So like in the UK, when shell suits were a trend or fluorescent socks, she'd be like, no, you're not wearing that. No, like come up with your own style. So that made me have my own dress sense, and I was starting to get, like I find that whatever fills my heart, like also affects what I'm wearing, what I'm choosing, what I'm creating every day. So whether it be music or skateboarding or graffiti or like playing electric guitar, these are all the things that I was influenced back then. So through that, I would make my own clothes, create my own style. In my like school at the time, I was like a weirdo compared to everyone else. But then finally I got like a scholarship to go to art college at 16 years old. And then finally I met all the other creative weirdos where I realized it was a good thing to stand out and be individual. And it really, that time, helped me foster my creativity and learn about how to connect with the earth and express that through art and fashion, or through like emotion or storytelling, how we can express that through art, fashion, photography. And that was really just the beginning for what was yet to come.
So being a weirdo was the beginning of the full, beautiful story. I love that. And the message to the world, obviously, being a little bit different can be the beginning of something very, very beautiful. And I just love the message and the essence of what you're sharing. Yeah. I think it was you, Inna, said, like in our previous conversations, that we can use style either to fit in or to stand out. And it's just a matter of, what we choose. And it's interesting because I read somewhere a quote, I don't remember where, but it says, everybody has a style. It's just a matter if it's being expressed or not. And I think that's super interesting. And what about you, Marina? What would you say? What does self-expression mean to you?
I think the main thing, you need to identify and be happy of who you are, whether you want to, like wear crazy things or not crazy stuff, or wear your mood going floral today and not tomorrow. It's just a matter of just do what you feel like doing, just express who you really are. You don't wear something because, this is the trend now, so I'm gonna have to, because otherwise I'm not really trendy then, That's the kind of thing that has been used so much by the marketing, advertising, and all those type. But if you have a strong identity, to me, beauty is quality. Beauty is quality, whether it's in a person, that means it could be your personality. That's the quality. Whether it's in product, so the essence of the beauty is, I think, it's a quality. So then, like if you able to bring out the best in you, I think that's how you express yourself. Be confident of who you are. Yeah.
Okay, so you see we're already overlapping on the words. We have self-expression, creativity, confidence, beauty. So our full conversation is going to circle around these words, basically, and the meaning that we bring to it. Because obviously, what is the saying? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It always is. Like, what's my perception is obviously going to be affected by my history, where I come from, where I live, and so on. So speaking about that, and Gaelyn, I know that we were talking about that before. Fashion, style, and fashion in general can be considered something superficial. And you were saying something similar, Gaelyn, to just it's so much more than just pretty pictures. Obviously, you being a photographer. And I loved how you were explaining the process that you take your clients through, that it can actually be a journey of transformation. Would you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, I would.
Yes, she would. Amazing.
So I want to tell you that I got my photography skills because I have no training in photography at all. By circumstances that I won't go into that created a job for me, I became a book cover designer for lots of publishers all over the world. And in that, I couldn't find images on stock photo sites because they were too conceptual, and what do? I have to set up still lifes and take pictures. So I had to learn photography because I couldn't do the book cover design that was required of me. So that's how I got my Photoshop skills. I got Photoshop as soon as it was invented, and Macintosh as soon as it was invented, that had a screen that big. But I learned so much. And that saying is follow your bliss and the money will follow. That really is the truth on a very, very deep level, because I learned, and it's a long learning because I'm older than I look, but I have done so many creative things all of my life, and I've learned that when it's dead for me, like book cover design, it just was over after a few decades. I just couldn't stand doing another book cover. Something else showed up, and that was what lit me up. And so I took that on, and then I moved to Bali. I'm skipping over a lot, but in Bali, I continued my Photoshop and photography skills, and I noticed that the photo shoots themselves were transformational, and I didn't know that originally. I saw women who didn't have a good self-image and not a bit of self-worth transform in front of my camera. I devised some meditations before we got started to take them into their hearts and deeper into their bodies. And I had them move, not just pose statically. And I saw these women who had no self-worth look at the images that I showed them during the shoot and go, oh, that's me? Oh my God, I feel so beautiful now. And so that's what lit me up. I can do this for other women. I can make women see their own beauty. And that's what became my reason for doing the art that I do now. And I don't know if my time is up right now. Is it? Because I would like to go deeper into that, but that's the, paving the way to let you know that that's what I'm about. I am about reflecting back to women their own magnificence that they have never been aware of before.
Wow, thank you for being mindful. Yes, wow. Thank you. I think you nailed it. Thank you, Gaelyn. And to just expand on what you were saying, just moving beyond the fact that fashion would just be something silly and that it would be something vain or superficial or whatever, what would you say in fashion? What does that mean to you? And how can we use fashion as a tool to create more light in this world?
That's a good question. Definitely, fashion is a tool, and many people underestimate it by saying that maybe professionals, they are not so much in the fashion. Like, Mark Zuckerberg, for example, he has the same T-shirt and he wears, so I guess it's underestimation, because there is a scientific research proving actually that, it's several scientific researches. There is scientific researches of mind over matter, matter over mind, and it's proven that if person wears a certain type of clothing, which will be in his mind associating with being more professional, he become more professional. If he wears something which signal to his brain that he's more beautiful and confident, that's what it does with his brain. So it's scientifically proven. So fashion is actually extremely powerful tool to shift your spirituality, professional career, sexuality, public image, social acceptance from outside in. So I believe that fashion is a great tool for mind over matter, yeah.
This is so interesting. Thanks for sharing. And for anyone who has been thinking of fashion as something superficial, maybe you are having, second thoughts about the whole thing. And it's interesting because most often we hear, okay, how can we shift from the inside out? Which is obviously something that's very empowering, but you're saying something opposite here. Hey, how can we use something, well, it could be considered a tool from the outside, how can we take...
More accessible tool, save you lots of money on psychotherapy, produce dopamine, and it's like a short step to success, you wear a beautiful dress, in 5 minutes, you already feel like a queen, so...
I love
power
this.
to that.
Thanks for the add-on. You are brilliant. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about. I'm excited. So speaking about that, beauty as in itself and how we can use beauty to create more light and more energies. And you were saying the full thing about how it feels, feeling like a queen in this example, because we were speaking about women and clothes, for example. So at the end of the day, it's so much about how do we want to feel and how we can use certain things such as creativity, such as clothes, such as style, to actually shift our emotions. And in this case, it would actually be something coming from the outside that actually shifts something from within. Because here we're actually speaking about self-empowerment, we're speaking about transformation, we're speaking about, a kind of personal freedom, so we can actually express who we are. So then what does it take to be able to express who we truly are? Because obviously, first of all, being on the creative path and then have the audacity to show the world our innermost selves, that takes something. It takes confidence. That brings me to you, Marina.
Creativity?
Yeah. No, creativity and confidence, because a little bit of your path, because all these ladies, they are self-made. They're sitting here and you're coming from something, all of you have individual experiences that has taken you on a specific path, and it's just inspirational. And I know, for example, you, Marina, being brought up in a little bit more of an old school culture, no one really encouraged you to, hey,
I don't have the path layout to me. Growing up in Indonesia, this is obviously a while ago. It's much better now, and also obviously generalization. Growing up back then is basically, as a girl or a woman, you'll be, just study just so that you're smart, you know things. But at the end of the day, you're just going to find a husband and you get married and be a housewife. So back then, my mom loves me. We are very close as a family. But they never really said to me, you know what? You can do, there is polyscience, there is designer, there is, all these things that I can do, or encourage me to have a career, get to be something you want. So I don't grow up with any of that. So I never really think what I wanted to be, or exposed to things that it can trigger me to think what I want to be, until I actually moved to Australia when I was around 20, you know. So then that's when it's opened my mind. Everybody's working, everybody's studying for this, and so then it started to figuring out what I want to do. Obviously, it was a little bit difficult then because, you know, I just got there, so I start from really right at the very beginning. I work in a cafe, I work in retail, I work as a receptionist, I get rejected, you know, working in a receptionist in a house full of 10 cats that I have to feed. I still didn't get that job, you know, but, and it was crushing for me, you know, like, my God, this house is not even a real office, and I just want to tap into the office side of it, so I have an experience in Australia because I'm not graduate from anything over there. But obviously, you know, life, what you believe in, what you keep working on, it will pay back, you know, it will give it back to you. So I actually ended up instead working for a company called Kyocera, which is like a global photocopier. It's a real corporate. Well, from then on, I quickly go up, you know. I don't have much time. I start this late, so I need to move up rank very quickly. So I ended up working for Gucci as a high management position. I worked for Oraton. I was a buyer, which is really hard to get. You know, it's it's got a lot to do with numbers, which I love. I'm a geek in that way. But so I enjoy that part. And beginning to coming back to where it was before. So that's how I kind of like get all my experience, and then you know, sort of. The creativity side is I think it's more like a tendency of being able to create something that might be useful and actually solve problems as well, you know. Whether it's like me selling clothes, you know, I try to be conscious about my brand because I care about the environment. So my brand is using like fiber, natural fiber, produced in a small amount, and I try to encourage customer to shop intentionally. So I'm going. So that's the type of the creativity that I put in, as well as giving back. But at the same time, you know, it's also solving, like we talk about fashion, you know, like it makes people feel good about themselves. So that's, you know, a lot of things that we create, some of them is actually also help to solve problem of what you doing from your creativity. Yeah.
Thank you. The many phases of creativity and also how we build confidence. Obviously, falling down, hitting rock bottoms, getting rejections over and over and over again until there will be a yes after a couple of rejections. And there will always be that. Yeah. So that's such an important lesson in it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like before, my friend thinks, because I started in Brisbane, and then I moved to Sydney, and like, oh my God, how good you moved to Sydney. What they didn't know, I applied for 300 jobs. Yeah. I exaggerated, but I applied for so many. I didn't just thinking, oh, I want to move to Sydney, and I go there, and then I get the job, you know. I want to work at Gucci. I didn't just think it, and then I get it. It takes a lot of time and work for it, you know, so that's what people need to remember.
Self-made ladies. Yeah, speaking about confidence and building resilience as well to be able to keep creating. And, well, we're speaking about creativity. Obviously, that's the topic for the full thing. And when I asked you, May, what creativity means to you, your first reply was, it's my life, basically. That was a very good sum up. Would you want to expand on that? What is creativity for you, and what does it mean to you?
It's everything to me. It's my whole life. Like, there's not a day that goes by without when I'm not creating something. And even when I'm experiencing life or on top of a mountain or in a rice field, that is the source of my creativity. So all of those things and having inspiring conversations is fueling the creativity. The reason why I moved to Bali was because for here it's like a creative playground for me, where there's the vibrancy of the people, the mix of culture. You've also got beautiful nature surrounding that. For me, it was just like endless possibilities in terms of creating here, which really like fueled my spirit. So yeah, creativity is everything to me. It's my life.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's such an important thing to talk a little bit about, because most often creativity, a lot of people may not relate to being a creative. What does that even mean? We might think of, well, designers or artists or something, and therefore we do not relate to being a creative person. But as we're speaking about here, of course, there is creativity within everyone. Again, it's just a matter of, well, being able to access it from within and being open to it, and also then to be able to express it. And I always say that that's the unique skills, gifts, talents, the magic that each and every one of us, and you guys, everyone, and you watching, have within us. It's just a matter of finding out by exploring and having the courage to fall down a couple of times, maybe 300 times, and then just also have faith, and we spoke about that as well. I know, May, what would you want to say about that, having faith in your work when you're might experiencing challenges, or it might feel, I mean,
it's really difficult because my job is an art director and stylist, and often I have to like tap into the heart of the brand. It involves a lot of deep diving and working out their target customer, how we're going to get there. And there's obviously days where I could develop that within 3 hours, but there's no way of knowing. Sometimes it could take like 3 weeks. Like it's really, really hard sometimes to know that process and how long it's going to take to develop an idea. It's not like a bookkeeping job, for example, because you're using your feeling and you're getting inspiration, and that research is going to fuel this amazing idea. And it takes like time, and you do have to trust. Like, you have to keep going. You have to trust. You have to see the light. You have to believe in the people that you're surrounding you, and understand that is a process. And to just keep doing affirmations every day. Have time for yourself. When it's really difficult, push back and do something else. Connect to the source. Go for a walk. There's so many tools that we can use to fuel it again. And sometimes you have to press back and then push hard again. But it all evolves and it all happens, when it's supposed to be, because it's like you're creating this beauty, magnificent thing that's unique. And that takes time.
I love our language. It's magnificent and beautiful and light and colors. And yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
Piggyback off of that?
Yes.
While you were talking, I was realizing that I came into an understanding of mindset. And that's the most important thing that there is. So I mentioned before, from a family who was totally negative, and that's all that came at me. And I left early. And it took me many years to get out of the negative mindset that I was brought up with. But now, I do a lot of the practices that you mentioned, and I trust. I have so much deep faith in the process of life. And if it's not coming easily, I do something else. And I go into nature, and I meditate, or I walk on the beach, and I do affirmations. And I trust that in divine timing, it will come. And it always does. It always does. There's never a time that it doesn't. And so what life has brought to me is that I use my photography now to layer it and layer it and layer it and create an art piece for the woman so that she can see herself as the fuller expression of the archetypal energy that is asking for fuller expression in her life in that moment. And that's a customized magical talisman instead of just a vision board. She's starring in the image that she's becoming right then. And boy, does that make a difference. And I love doing that for women. It's just my favorite thing. And now, I told you I would come around to this. Midjourney AI is giving me so much more leeway to create backgrounds that perfect for that background that she wants to be in. Because if I have to do it from my archives, it takes forever. So I can explain exactly how I want things, and it's just a beautiful process. So that's what I wanted to add to what you said.
And I want to add, isn't it the most beautiful thing when we get to watch super passionate women who are just very authentically sharing their passion with us here? I love it. It's the most beautiful thing to just observe. So thank you for sharing. And we're speaking about inspiration as well, because obviously, where does creation and creativity come from? And you all have been mentioning how you get inspired and where we can find inspiration, perhaps in nature or by just doing something else or feeding our soul with whatever it is that lights us up to create space for that thing from within to being brought to life. And that brings me to you, Inna. Colors. I know you're very passionate about, well, color therapy and how we can actually use colors in fashion and in design. And with your background, you know, coming from, with your words, Russia, it was, well, more gray there, here than it is in Bali. And I can relate. I'm from Sweden. We have a very long, dark winter, even though it's gorgeous. So what would you say your background, like, and obviously being here in Bali where it's sunny, it's lush greenery everywhere, it's very, very colorful. And how would you say that colors adds to you for inspiration to creating what you're doing?
I would say that most of us is expats here, you know, in this space, and in Bali welcome lots of expats all around the world, including countries which are not so blessed with colors and sunshine, you know. So I admire people who risked their connection with family, their stability back home, coming to the end of the world, somewhere they're looking for the sunshine, looking for this paradise we're living in. And of course, this paradise changed totally your mindset when it's come to fashion also. If in Sweden or in Russia, probably in England as well, we would wear totally different lifestyle. We have different lifestyle, different fashion items, different colors. So here we have a freedom of self-expression in any color we want, from black to white, red, green, like all colors of rainbow here. And I think that's freedom, you know. We actually, by choosing freedom, we're capable to choose the color, and vice versa. Color comes with a certain lifestyle, with nomadic lifestyle, which actually assume being free out of the dogma of the society, being in the system, going from 9 to 5 for a job, not like it's something bad with that or good. It just, everybody's different, everybody change different lifestyle and different fashion. And fashion bring a lifestyle too, so. But just to finish, me wearing red today, I think it's, for me, personally, it's a color of confidence and high energy. That's why I'm wearing red.
Lady in red, I love it. And to just add to that conversation, what you were sharing is so inspirational because, again, Bali as an example, because this is where we are, well, being, well, one kind of paradise, you could say. And obviously the energies, how they impact our creativity as well, because obviously we get inspired by different things. There is no right or wrong. We, at the end of the day, we are free beings. We get to choose if we have that privilege. And energies. So what would you say, ladies, when it comes to energies, the energy of Bali, just because we're speaking about that and we're all here, what would you say? The energy of Bali, in what way has Bali impacted your creativity?
I could do it. What I know of the energy of Bali is that there is a serpentine flow of energy like on the Caduceus. And that energy is only in 2 places on the globe, Lake Titicaca and Bali. And that energy is for purification. So that is bringing up anything that needs to be looked at and purified. Seriously, that's the energy of Bali, from my understanding. And it's a very rare energy, you know. I came here with my husband of 33 years, and we are now divorced, very good friends, but he couldn't stand the purification energy here. It was too much for him. Not everybody can stay here because it's too difficult. But those Mama Bali takes into her embrace get a lot out of it, because you use that energy for your creativity when you are willing to look at what comes up and move through it instead of dance around it. That's been my experience.
Thank you for sharing. It brings us to, yeah, absolutely, Marina, sure.
No. I was saying, because I'm still learning I learned so much since I'm in Bali, you know, and you learn something every day, and that is beautiful, and it definitely makes sense, you know. It's just, you know, identifying even more what Bali is about, because I come from a corporate background. Coming to Bali in the beginning, I was so controlling, and people's like, oh, you need to surrender. I was like, surrender? What's that? You know, I'm just like, so Bali has taught me so much, and there are so many occasions that you can see, you know, the more you're anxious about something, the more it's not happening, the more you kind of just like, let it go. You obviously try your best, but you don't, you know, sort of, so it is amazing in here, but I'm still learning, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say then, let's say for maybe any of us here in the audience, for any of you who is watching live or watching the recording afterwards, if there is someone who feel, I don't know where my passion is, I would want to explore my creative side, what would your advice be? What would you say to this person?
I would say that's like, try to first look in what you like to do, you know, what you like to do, and then you go from there and you're finding out. I'm sure there will be few things, and you go deep into it. And then there is no right or wrong if you suddenly said, oh, actually this is not for me. I mean, I only know what I want to do later in the day, you know, sort of. But it's just, you keep growing, you keep, you know, it's, you know, you self-develop, so you keep evolving and changing, and it's okay, you know. So just go with it. Just go with it and find what you like. As long as the core is who you are, based on your value, then I think you'll be fine.
Beautiful. May, if you would want to add.
I don't know, for me, like, I try, everything I do has got to have meaning and feel worthwhile to me. And that whole process, like, it is about connecting to emotion. So, you know, if you could spend a little bit of every day doing something creative, it could be some creative writing, poetry. You might just go for a walk and take some photographs, or want to create here. I mean, there's so many tailors, artisans, artists to collaborate your ideas too. This is the perfect place to start, you know? There's so much around us that can fuel our creativity in so many ways. And for me, it's actually the process that I love. It's not about the end result. So with something like, say, sometimes I write music from a poem, for example, and I'm in love with the process. It's not about the end result to me. It's about that beautiful process and how we grow from that. And for my work and doing art direction and stuff, it is more important about the end result. It's different. So when you monetize it later on, it does become more important. But the journey itself is a beautiful one. And those journeys make us stronger as creatives, so that we're able then to succeed in anything that we do. And so, yeah, this is the perfect place to get started.
And now, what do you want to share? How do you find, well, not you, but if you were to speak to someone who's feeling a little bit stuck, you know, what are my passions? I want to explore my creative side. What would you say to that person?
I would say that probably something what you can't live without, you do in everywhere anyway. That probably will be the easiest thing to do. You know, that will what you're more passionate about. So creativity, something is, yeah, it's unstoppable. You know, it can, and don't get me wrong, it can be not fashion or creativity in like mutual understanding of it, like paintings or writings. You can be creative in numbers, in computer games, in God knows, in reading articles, putting it together to something else. So you just don't limit yourself and saying, okay, some other people would be more creative than me. And I think also another thing what's very inspiring, when you can't be sure, you know, if you're on the right path, always share with other people, ask their advice, and ask the help and cooperation, collaboration, because once you have other people involved, most likely they will support you, and most likely they will keep you creditable, and they will give you more energy to follow through if you make something together, because you don't want them to feel bad. So the energy of connecting with others and helping others and enjoying each other company, working together, is actually more powerful than we think. That when we appreciate creating with other people, it's actually keep us growing much faster
So
and
how
stronger.
Yeah, co-creation. Just like we're doing here tonight, just talking about something, you guys being here, all of us just, yeah, being here together and discussing this topic. So I have so many more questions, but I want to invite you in the audience in. So we will create some space so that you can ask these ladies whatever you want to ask. So, yeah. Anyone has any question?
Sure. Yeah. All right. Maybe if you get the third mic, but yeah. So Ina, we'll just grab that mic for a little bit, and then we'll bring it back.
Oh, you can use this one as well.
All right. So firstly, beautiful. Just great to see everybody here. Obviously, my beloved Marina sitting there, and then looking at Ina, just owning it. And obviously, Gaelyn, you're amazing. And yeah, well, I'm looking right at you, so you know already. Nathalie, well done. So the question is that, and you've probably answered this before, but I think it'd be great just to isolate it. You know, when you get blocked, what do you do, right? So how do you get unstuck when you are stuck?
I was going to answer that before you asked it. So for me, the underlying river of source is my go-to. If I'm stuck, I take a nap, or I go out into nature, or I pray very deeply from my heart for help from my guides, my spirit guides, my angels, whoever I'm connecting to in a higher frequency at that time. And then I rest and I trust in divine timing, because it always comes. It always comes. And then I go over to my computer, because that's my medium for now, and I just start doing something. And I don't have in mind what I'm going to do at all. And then I layer something on top of that, and layer something on top of that, and oh my, there's something that I hadn't counted on. And that inspires me to go to that place where I had no idea I was going to go to, and it develops into something beautiful that I had no idea I was going to do, because I allowed and I surrendered and I asked for help. That's my process, and it works every single time.
Thank you. I think it's an important reminder to just allow ourselves to sometimes be a creative mess, before everything gets done. Like everything has a beginning, and something happens in between. We actually see the end result. Thanks for the share. Marina, you want to add?
Well, it is really hard. Creative mind, you almost cannot put a deadline on it because you cannot be like, sit there and have an idea, So it's always amazed me when there are people working in fashion that every 3 months have to have something new. So I think everything that Gaelyn said is perfect. This is what happened. You have to just take yourself out of it. Or, do something completely different to what you're doing. For example, if you go home this way, you go the other way, you might see something new. You just create something different on your routine to find something different, but the store is basically, if you're stuck, that means you've been trying too hard and your brain is just not gonna give in to like it's given up. So you just have to go back to nature or have a nap or just give yourself a break.
Then we come back to surrendering, like you were mentioning, and faith and trust, like every one of you have been sharing. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else who has a question? Yes, you in the back.
I'll try to be loud.
Okay.
Let's say it's your first day in Bali.
Let's use that because then everyone can hear online as well. Yeah.
Sure. Let's say it's your first day in Bali. You've come here to find your passion. Where would you start, having lived in Bali maybe for a while? What would you say to some women or a guy? What are the first steps to discover themselves on this beautiful island?
May? Oh, no?
Yeah, you can start. Yeah. I guess it's depend on what is your intention coming to Bali, I guess, some people probably, or you just want to stay here just to kind of relax and finding out what you want to do later. That could come up with, you go to group, let's say like a meetup group or anything like that. You can come up with ideas then. But some people already know coming to Bali, I want to, start fashion or I just want to relax. And yeah, a lot of what I know, a lot of people is doing a meditation or going to, sort of like self-development thing and finding out and peeling out what it is important to you to find out what you really actually want to do. It's go back to that before, creating something, it's just tap into the inside, what you really want to do. So maybe you need to peel yourself out and look what you actually meant to be. Everyone in this world have some sort of roles to do, so. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that. There are many, 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 many things in Ubud, and I'm sure in this area too. Plug in and see what makes your heart beat faster. See what appeals to you on a superficial level, not necessarily, oh, there's my guru. That's not what I'm talking about. Look at what is offered here and then avail yourself of it and see if that sparks anything, and then if it doesn't, try something else. Eventually, you will come upon, because you're led, if you don't know it or you do know it, you're being divinely led to what it is you're looking for. So just try. Try this, try this, try this, and eventually it will take you where you want to go.
So May, what do you want to add? Because you said earlier that for you, Bali is a creative playground.
There's a few things here, right? When I have been blocked and I've got a deadline, because I've studied fashion for years, I'm also a fashion lecturer. So I've been a lecturer for 10 years teaching design and marketing. And I've got to get my kids through. Whether they're blocked or not, they've got a deadline. And often there's like research that you do, specific ones that was, pulling together all of that research, 100% your ideas are going to flow. And it's the same as what you're saying. I'm a massive geek. And when it comes to Bali, I'm a geek. So, what I do is spend hours and hours researching this and that and see what takes my fancy and explore it. So research is key. Find out about what you're interested in, but what people are doing around you. And then you can create the most amazing itinerary, whether it be exploring or looking at art or whatever it is. That's the best way. Like, be curious about the world, become a creative geek, do your research. That's my advice.
I love the message. Become a creative geek. Yes. Inna, what would you say as an add-on?
I totally create. For me, it's about research and about the passion for life, you know. Once you have your healthy routine going on, you have enough of health and energy for life, the answer is always coming, you know, because we are wired this way to be active and to live, right? So if you have this juice to live, you will find your creativity, your calling, and what to do is just actual.
So what would you say then, just adding on to what you were saying, because we were speaking about life, you know, feeling happy, fulfilled, I would say, I guess, and aliveness. What would you say if we would bring aliveness to this conversation, Inna? In what way does your art, your work, bring aliveness to you and your world?
Well, for me personally, same like for Gail, that's why I said in the beginning, we resonate in a way that beauty, I feel like a beauty ambassador. So for me, everything I can do to bring more beauty in the life, it means that I'm bringing more harmony. And we had this conversation about beauty and what's behind beauty. Basically, our eyes perceive beauty as immortality. So when we look at the beauty, at the golden ratio of the faces, at beautiful scenery, the blue color, the green grass, youth, beautiful fashion. It's all about us living and not thinking about the death, right, or sickness. So I think beauty is a tool to experience the fashion, experience the life in the most brightest way, you know. So it distracts you from as a fact that we're all mortal, and it fulfill your time, this time what you have on this planet, with a little bit more joy, a little bit more satisfaction, a little bit more passion, and as the end, as a result, you live more happy, fulfilled life, and that's what we're here for, right?
Beautiful. So you see how we're bringing all of these words together and creating a context. Again, self-expression, creativity, confidence, and beauty, and just bringing something way deeper than whatever perception we might have had about beauty before. So on a deeper level, because we're speaking here about obviously self-empowerment, we're speaking about confidence, aliveness, joy, happiness, expression, creativity, all of this goodness. On a deeper sense, what would you say, what is the bigger purpose for you ladies? Why are you doing what you're doing? I know you're passionate, I know you love what you're doing. I think we can tell that these ladies are very well attuned with your passions. So yeah, on a bigger scale, what would you say, what is the purpose for what you're doing and sharing of yourself with the world?
I covered that. I said, and I will repeat it, I am very clear that right now I am here to reflect women's magnificence to them. If they know they are, if they don't know they are, I am here to show it to them. That's what Spirit tells me, and that's what I'm constantly getting feedback from those that I work with. That's what they get out of it. So on the deeper level, all of us are beautiful. Nobody isn't. It's tuning into that inner beauty and bringing it forth so that people can recognize it in themselves. And that's what I'm here to help with. I am not a perfectionist at it. I do my best, but it seems to be working for people, so I'm getting that feedback. That's what I'm here to do.
Thank you. Okay, May, next one.
It's not like, for me, it's very raw actually, and I think beauty is in the imperfections in life. It doesn't all have to be like perfect. Imperfection is beautiful too. I want to bring more meaning into everything that I do. I want to only create worthwhile relationships, long-term relationships with people, building something really special. One of the things that I'm doing now is I work with a lot of brands long-term and build their message and convey emotion in all the stories that I tell. Also with designers and people that want to get interested in fashion marketing, also to realize their skills, but what a difference they can make through their creative. And so this year, like, I decided that, yeah, I'll be doing all my campaigns, but a percentage of everything that I do will go towards me creating more creative projects that for, like, with different meaning, whether it be preserving nature, whether it's celebrating diversity, culture, whether it's for what's going on in Iran, the Ukraine, all of that. I want to create these beautiful creative projects that have got these emotional feelings, that have got positive messages, or make people see the world in a different way. And yes, that's through fashion, but it's also through collaborating with photographers, models, artists, and using Bali as this playground.
Thank you. Well, Marina?
So the question was the brand.
What was my question? What would you say was your deeper purpose behind your passion and creativity for what you're doing?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, so my brand is a conscious label. It is not yet 100% sustainable. I'm still working on it. It's not easy for the price point I want to reach, so it's quite difficult. But I want to make sure that at least I'm giving back and contribute to the community. For example, I also want to empower women, my worker, the women that working with me, to adding extra skill for them in order for them probably go on their own business, you know. So not just stuck to what they think. Oh, I'm just here now, so this is what I am. And a lot of a lot of local women, or thinking that, okay, so now I'm just a seamster, I cannot open a business, or so we give an extra skill to what they like to do. That's one. But also, like I said, I'm passionate about the environment, so that's why what I'm doing is gonna reflect to that as well. So that's the deeper purpose. Then it gives you a bigger motivation when the goal is way beyond yourself, like I want to get rich or I want to get money. So it's sort of like you wake up in the morning because you're responsible of those things that you said you're going to do. So it's in a way it's a good thing, having a deeper purpose, not just I want to make clothes for just to look cool or something, But if you have a core of a deeper purpose, why are you doing this for? What is it? When you take, you got to give back. So that's kind of like the playground, the basic of how I play with my brand. Yeah.
So much wisdom and goodness. Inna, what would you say? The bigger purpose in your work, your creations, what you're doing? You already shared a little bit, but just in context.
I totally agree with Marina, what she just said, that basically you share the skills, right? And those skills, including like what I do, I used to do very high-end fashion. It's all handmade, embroidered. Every dress is taken, like it's one of a kind, and it's take from 2 to 1 month to make. So when I started to do this collection, first time it was years ago when I lost my father, and I lost a big part of support in my life, because for me he was my rock, he was my everything. So I did the collection dedicated to him and to myself also, as creating archangels, Gabriels, all Russian Orthodox saints, and I put it embroidered on the dresses. And people who embroidered these icons was people who work for the churches. So those people, they basically are very pure, like to create an icon, you have to have very pure mind, very patient, and you have to have a lot of love in yourself and believe in the God. in higher forces, and loving yourself to dedicate months of your life to creating something beautiful as a dress. And then you give it to disposal to your clients. You exchange your skills on their skills, basically their sales skills, their skills, they make money out of their skills, and you give them opportunity to buy a time, a skills, love, what other people put, and protection. Because that dress, for example, talking of Archangel Gabriel, when I wear it, it gave me so much protection also. I felt like my father is still around me, that my angel's looking after me, and it made me so much stronger in that such a difficult breaking moment of life to go through and follow through. So beauty save you, it protects you, it gives you power, it gives you tools to exchange with other people their skills, their time, their energy, their love, and therefore that's what makes you happy. Like you give opportunity to others to walk, to express their love. You give your clients opportunity to pursue that, and I mean, it's just such a great fulfilling process for everybody, and that's what makes a good life.
That was a good sum up. Thank you. And I think by listening to all of you ladies, consider about, what's your unique skills, gifts, talents, the magic that you have living within you. And I'm a firm believer of everything that we've been saying here. It's not a matter if you have it or not. It might be temporarily blocked, but then it's just to go in a path to actually discover what that magic is, because I do believe that we all have it, just like you have been sharing. And it doesn't matter if we're in fashion or what we are doing. You can be a passionate chef, creating art with your food. You can write books. You can, like you said, I think it was you, Ina, you can create in so many different ways, even if you're at home or, it doesn't really matter. So to just tap into that goodness, and also what we are hearing here, what you are sharing, how can we use our creativity as a force to actually create something good and something better in this world? And how can we do that? By actually just bringing our most authentic selves to create this kind of goodness. We can do it by ourselves, and we can also use the magic to co-create collaborations and just create from that place within ourselves that's just pure and clear and very passionate. So I would say, as an add-on to what you're saying here, there could be a lot of add-ons, but never underestimate the power that each and every one of us have. Everyone here in the audience, you who are watching us, that we, of course, can be part of creating, of contributing to a bigger purpose here. And we do that by collaborating with each other and bringing our passions to life. So it's so not, just being creative. It's not about being selfish at all. It's about tapping into that inner sense of joy and passion and creating from that place. And from that place, naturally, like you said, it's not just about creating something for the sake of it. Then what? Well, then the bigger purpose will just naturally unfold if we let it, which takes some faith and trust and confidence and all the things. So, okay, do we have any more questions before we start to wrap up?
I reckon we go straight to the wrap up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap this up. First of all, thank you so much for being here. You are all so inspirational, and like I said in the beginning, these ladies have so much wisdom and goodness within them that we could have a series of panel on this topic basically this full year. So to be continued, ... So thank you, ladies, for being here and sharing yourself, your stories, your passionate selves. It's just the most beautiful thing to watch. And for me, it's just a privilege to be here with you and with all of you in the audience. And, well, for every one of you who are watching either live or watching the recording. So this is a big thank you to you, the audience. You are lovely. You're all smiling, so you all look happy. That's beautiful. And thank you, Robert, for creating this space where we can just come together and get inspired by each other and just talk about all the things. And of course, too, where are you guys? Everyone here at Tropical Nomad. Yes, Guzman. Yes, amazing. Ayu, Ichi, and all of you here at Tropical Nomad that creates this space for us so that we can come together here, so that we all can, well, just get together and share the inspiration. And that's it for tonight. Before we, well, this is the wrap-up, actually. Where can we find you, ladies? If I would want to learn more about you, Ina, Gaelyn, May, and Marina, where do I go?
You can find me on Instagram, edit.bymarina in Instagram, or you can find my clothing at Capella in Ubud, and also TS store in Seminyak. I'm working in a few other shops at the moment, still on go, but otherwise it's online and the two shops that is in Ubud and Seminyak. Oh, sorry.
Well, if you want to find out more about me and my work, you can go to www.maycortazzi.com or my Instagram, which is my name. Easy peasy.
I have a website, inneressencephotography.com, so that's one way. And I have 2 Instagram accounts. My name, Gaelyn, Gaelynl _photography. And my other one is GAELYNL _artist.
Now I have 2 mics, lucky me. Yeah, mine is easy. Instagram, Inna Alexandrovna, 111111. And my Facebook work page is InnaQ Facebook. So you see all my work there. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you can find me on, my name is a little bit difficult to spell, but NathalieBansazak.com. Same thing on Instagram, but because all of you probably already forgot what I said and what the lady said with all the spellings, so of course you can find all these links in the show notes. So that's it. And next week, Monday, same, then Robert will be here again. I'm not sure what you guys will be talking about then, but you can obviously, follow everything on social media, join our WhatsApp community, and so on. And massive thank you to you ladies, to everyone here, for everybody who's watching, and see you next week. Yes. Woo.